Thank you for joining our end of the week Q&A episode. This is Michelle Patel.
This is Gabe Baradi from Satisfied.
Thank you to everyone who's been sending the Reboot Journal and asking us questions based on the episodes. Please keep them coming. And today, we will be answering two questions that we received that we felt that's very relevant to anyone working in the service industry. Okay, so Gabe, why don't you start and handle the first question?
So this question comes from Marge, one of our participants who is filling out the journal for Reboot. And her question is, does striving for excellence mean being competitive in the workplace? So our answer to that is, of course, excellence is being outstanding or really good at something. But the question is, who are you competing against? So if you focus on the people that you work with, then you're really setting the bar low because you should be competing against yourself. So if you look at all the top athletes in the world, they really compete against themselves. They measure, they keep really good records of what their past performances are. And I remember this from some of the athletes before, that they look for incremental improvement. You don't have to improve by leaps and bounds within a day, but if you're improving at least 1% every day, at the end of the year, that really adds up. So that's our answer. You really should be competing against yourself based on your previous performance.
Yes, and I'd just like to add to that, right? So in the context of companies and brands, if you are the market leader, if you're number one, right, you actually, you cannot look at number two and number three, right? You have to always set the bar very high to the point that the number two brand and the number threes, number fours, if they even matter at this stage, are just too far behind, right? You have to set your standards very high. And so if you keep on looking at your competition, it will slow you down, right? Because there's a reason why they are where they are and why you are where you are. Now, if you are not the market leader, it's very important to look at what obviously the leaders are doing. But then the question is, how do you differentiate yourself? Simply copying what they're doing will not really give you that much advantage, right? Because the reason why they are successful is because they were able to own that space, and whatever strengths they already have, they've communicated to the world that they own them, right? So if you're simply just going to be a me too copy, you're not going to excel in the same level. You won't even be at par with that brand, right? So you're always like maybe 10 steps behind. So the question is that where you want to be? Sometimes it's a business strategy, right? Like there are some successful companies that are perfectly happy to be number two, to be number three, because they still have a share of the market. So you just have to you just have to know the kind of positioning that you would like to have in the market, and understand that if that is how you define excellence, you have to be at peace with it. Now the thing is, in the context of the service industry, and in the context of where we are now, which is during this lockdown world, who are we really competitive against, right? So if you are trying to compete with your own team members, we've mentioned in episode 5 last week that this is a very unhealthy place to be. The post-lockdown world will have to demand stronger teamwork. You cannot be competing against each other if you are part of the same team. Everyone will fail in the end. We have to be united. And even before, there are some companies that promoted healthy competition between teams inside, right? Like if they have 10 different branches or stores, they're trying to compete with each other. But now that's not really the kind of mindset we need to have. All 10 stores would have to exceed their usual average sales or performance from before COVID, it's going to be tough, but that should
Right.
be the mindset of everyone, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you shouldn't compete with another store of the same company. We all
Yes.
have to
Mm-hmm.
make it, so no one
That's
gets
right.
left behind.
If I can share, I remember working for the logistics industry in the States, and in our district we had 13 stores. Of course, we ranked who was doing number one and who was the last.
Mhm.
But what we would do at the end of the week was we would get the top three stores and the last three stores to go on a call, and the top three would actually mentor the last three stores.
Wow,
So this
that's so
goes back
nice.
to, yeah, this goes back
Mhm.
to competition, that if you compete against yourself, then you'll just keep getting better. And this does
Right.
not stop you then from helping those that may be lagging behind you. If you're competing against other people or even other stores, then you'll do everything to make sure that they don't succeed. But if you compete against yourself, then you have the leeway to actually help other people, because what matters to you is just your performance. So, it really developed a sense of teamwork even among stores in our district, because you could count on the top performers to mentor the people or the stores that were lagging behind, and that just
Wow.
brings everybody up, which goes to your point, Michelle, that in the new normal, we really can't be competing against each other within our company.
Mhm.
We really have to help each other.
Yes, actually, in the mystery shopping work that we've done for several businesses in the service industry, what
Mhm.
we've been seeing is really a consistency check across stores, right? So let's say we work with a retail store and they have 20 stores, 20 branches,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So the results of all those 20 is such a good map of how consistent that brand is in delivering the
Mhm.
experience, or how inconsistent, right? Because
Yeah.
some companies, some brands could be consistently inconsistent. So
Okay.
right, so I mean, if some people could do it like 100%, while other branches
Mhm.
or stores are lagging behind, like only marking 20%, right? 20% meaning meeting the standards of the brand in terms
Yeah.
of experience. So that
Mhm.
says so much. So we've seen in the past those businesses actually use role modeling, right? So
Yes.
what
Yeah.
worked? Why can 3 stores out of 20 actually get it right? And how come
Mhm.
you have 2 stores that are lagging behind? So
Yes.
that is actually part of excellence, right? Like understanding what are our internal gaps? How can we be
Mm.
better? If we have certain teams that are excelling, even exceeding expectations, right?
Mhm.
Why are others lagging behind? So more on that, it goes back to the right mindset for
Yeah.
excellence. Gabe, you
Mhm.
want to talk more about this?
Right. So, like we say, true excellence really is escaping competition. You're really competing
Mhm.
against yourself. And you create a space when you excel that, you're in your own space, you're standing out, which goes back to our definition of excellence, because you just keep improving on what you've already done. Of course, intelligence is important, but don't benchmark yourself against a competition alone, because this limits you and supports a fixed mindset. In all our episodes, we are developing and moving towards a growth mindset, and
Mhm.
this will, guarantee our survival in the new normal. And to survive, we can't just focus on our competition, because this will slow us down and not lead us to excel. If you focus on what your customers need and find ways to exceed their expectations, this is where you excel. So the competition really is, how do I serve my customer better with every single interaction? And that's a really good strategy in surviving and even striving and thriving in this next new normal that we will have.
Mhm. Yeah, to add to that, so it's not, when we say that don't focus on your competition, when
Mhm.
it comes to working on being excellent, it does not mean that you stop looking at what they're doing, right? So of
Right.
course, business intelligence, competitive intelligence, these are essentials, right, for
Mhm.
growth.
Mhm.
But the thing is, we have to put it in the right context. So I would look at the competing brand, but
Mm-hmm.
I would look at it from the eyes where how are they delivering more value to customers? What can I
Mm-hmm.
learn from that? Especially
Mm-hmm.
if you are not able to do it, if you're not
Yes.
able to do the same or even like meet the customer's needs in the same way that they are able to do it amazingly well, right?
Right.
So you don't really necessarily benchmark like, okay, I need to do the same. No, if they're able to do that and you're seeing a shift in how customers are responding to it, right, you
Mm-hmm.
need to keep on exceeding that expectation. So the interesting part in all the research that we've done in the past decade was
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, let's say you set the bar this high, right? But if you're only inward looking, and I've seen that in some companies, they think that they're the best in the world, right? They're only looking inward. They
Yeah.
fail to see that there are smaller independent brands that start to rise because of
Mm-hmm.
value, right? They're closer to the customers. They're able to respond to the changing needs, evolving needs of customers. Before you know it, they've already like, you know, at par. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's already those incremental growth coming from these smaller players. And the small
Yes.
players were not small anymore, right? They're growing.
That's right.
So
Mm-hmm.
and then before you realize it, it's too late. You're already number two, number three. So we've
Mm-hmm.
seen that also in the financial sector. So um, and eventually startups have the word for that. It's disruption, right? So
Yes. Mm-hmm.
when you're already in that space, it's already too late. So what
Mm-hmm.
we are
Right.
saying here is you have to keep raising the bar in your
Mm-hmm.
whole category, right? Not just in that little space where you operate in, but own the category, escape competition.
Mm-hmm.
So again, striving for excellence does not really end, right? It's continuous improvement, continuous search for better ways. And we have, I remember Vince Tobias from Ayala actually put it
Okay. Yeah.
perfectly. He said that customer delight is
Mm-hmm.
innovation.
Yeah.
And when he said that, it's like, it just made sense. Your search to delight customers
Mm-hmm.
lead you to innovating better, right?
Yeah.
You're
Mm-hmm.
never the same company. Your products are keep getting better, and it's because
That's
you
true.
strive for customer delight. So for me, that is such a powerful sentence line
Mm-hmm.
that captured what excellence is.
Right.
Okay, so we have another question from Kat. This time from episode 4, right? So just a quick throwback on
Mm-hmm.
episode 4. It's about empathy. So I love this question because it's so relevant for everyone in the service industry, particularly in the food and beverage. So her
That's right.
question is: in our restaurant, it is required that managers do table hopping and check on guests, but the managers rarely do this. As a restaurant owner, how can I encourage them to always check on guests? Now, in our last week's Q&A, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I have this note there, right? For restaurants, observe the consistency of your check back.
That's right.
This is
Mm-hmm.
one indicator of your team's mindset towards feedback and how empowered they feel. So imagine this behavior that you can easily observe and monitor. If they don't do this consistently, they already have a problem when it comes to their how they approach feedback and how
Mm-hmm.
empowered they feel in terms of
That's right.
customer recovery. So I remember doing this training session for one of the restaurants we work with, and I did 4 sessions so that we were able to cover all the employees, all the servers of that brand.
Mm-hmm.
I asked everyone, why do we need to check back? I mean, it's been established
Okay.
already that check back is important because it's part of their standards, right? And the
Correct.
mystery shopping results actually showed that they hardly do it, like 15 to 20% across all stores. Imagine that. So
Right.
I asked
Mm-hmm.
them, why do we need to check back? And you know what? Their answers were varied, but
Mm-hmm.
mostly it fell under these common answers. They said to ask feedback, to check customer satisfaction, to see if everything is fine or they have complaints, right? And maybe I think very few people just said if we want to check if they want to order anything else. So what I told them after is, okay, all your answers are correct, right? These are all reasons why we do check back. But now I understand why you're not doing check back. It's because of all these reasons, right? Because earlier in that session, I asked them, why do you, how do you feel when the mystery shopping reports come every month, right? When you receive feedback, and they said, oh, we're nervous, we're scared, you know. So it made sense, right? Why they don't do feedback. The sad reality is, and this is the number 2 point in this slide, is feedback currently for the servers equals fear. Now that fear plus lack of customer recovery skills equals no check back. So like, why would I approach a customer if number 1, I'm already scared of feedback because I feel I'm not excellent at my service during this shift. And then what if they say that they're not happy? How will I be able to respond to that? So if they were not empowered with the right skills to recover a bad experience completely, they will disregard doing check back. Doesn't that make sense, right? And we've seen this. That was one turning point with one client. And then when I started asking probing the same question, I was able to validate it across different service businesses. So the key part here is, if a manager does not do check back, you cannot expect that their staff will do check back, right? Role modeling is so key in service execution. Why? Because it communicates now, okay, if my own manager, if my own store supervisor is not doing this standard, then it's not important. Why bother, right? It's extra work for them. They feel that it's just extra work. So more on that. Now, the next question, follow-up question for that would be, then whose accountability is it really to do check back? So we need to understand where they're coming from. As managers, I feel that number 1, they should be empowered to be able to recover a bad experience. So meaning, make the objective of doing check back for managers and store supervisors to seek feedback. Like, is everything okay? Hope you're happy, blah, blah, blah. Now, if they are not role models, the question is, they need leadership skills, which is going to be our topic now for season 2 of the Reboot program. Right. So again, this Reboot program, we designed it based really on our experience, 15 years experience doing customer experience research and mystery shopping. So now, what about the staff? Let's say in a store, retail store, or in a restaurant, even in a bank, right? So the staff's purpose, when the staff or the server checks back in a restaurant, is really to cross-sell. So you remove that worry that, oh my, am I gonna seek feedback if I'm gonna ask, how they are they happy, but I don't feel empowered to respond to any bad experience. Remove that worry from them, right? Give that role to the manager who's supposed to be empowered to do customer recovery, and just make the staff focus on cross-selling. So remember in episode 8, we said service is given. It's not asked for, right? Customers should not be the one asking for service. Service should be proactively given by the servers. Now, the question is when to check back. So this is in the context of a restaurant. If you think about it, there are at least 4 opportunities, very clear opportunities to conduct a check back. First, pre-busing from the first course. Let's say they ordered soup, they ordered salad, right? Or even snacks. Pre-busing means whatever is already like soiled plates that need to be cleared, you go there and you pre-bus it. But of course, you have to ask permission. Like, sir, is it okay if I clear this plate? Why? Because you want the table to be clear, right? And also, if they ordered main course, that's to prepare them for the next course. Now, when the server does this, and you see that, okay, they ordered two appetizers or two starters, and
Mm-hmm.
they finished one dish like really fast, which means they
Mm-hmm.
loved it, right? They loved it.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Your cross sell strategy there is, if I see that, why don't I offer another round,
That's right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously they loved it. So what the server says is, "Sir, I noticed you love this dish, and you have to say the name of the dish. Um, would you want to have another one? Would you like to order another one? And you can tell from the body language, right? And also the type of
Yeah.
restaurant that you have. Are these the kind of people who stay long, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they're chatting, maybe they're catching up after a long time. So, these strategies are very much relevant when the new normal, right? When dining is back. Especially right now, it's not yet, but there will come a
Mm-hmm.
time when people would love to go back to restaurants and dine out again, meet friends,
Mm-hmm.
catch up. So that's the first opportunity. The second opportunity is in the middle of the main course, right?
Yeah.
You have to refill service water. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you see they must, if you're really good in selling, you should have upsold them a beverage. So if you're seeing that the beverage is almost over, and beverage is not service water, right? It's something that they ordered.
Yes.
You should be able to offer a second round,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's unlimited, like a refillable iced tea or a lemonade, right? So if it's a single
Mm-hmm.
serve, offer another serving. And
Right.
these are things that we have noticed in the past that servers
Mm-hmm.
are completely ignoring, right? But these
Mm-hmm.
are, I mean, like, honestly, I remember, like, if only a server asked me, like, "Ma'am, would you want another order of a lemonade?" Because, I was so thirsty, I finished it quickly. I would have said yes. But because no
Yeah.
one asked you, right? You were like, "Oh, no, it's okay. I'll just have water." So that's the
Right.
second one. The third is towards the end of the main course, right? That is the time to offer the dessert menu.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It has to be proactive. Imagine if these extra orders add 10 to 15%,
Mm-hmm.
right? On the bill
The
amount. That would
bill.
be
Yeah.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and the fourth is during dessert, when they're actually eating dessert or having after drinks, after meal coffee, drinks. Offer takeaway, delivery, offer the loyalty program. So, I mean, all these have to be done before the bill is requested, because the mindset of the customers, I'm already ready to leave, right?
That's
If
right.
no check back happened, what does that tell you? You missed four opportunities, four chances to increase your revenue. That's
Mm-hmm.
it from every table, right? Which is such a sad thing if four chances were missed. So anyway, we would like to just like keep this Q&A brief. Gabe, do you have anything to add before we just give some announcement on what's happening next week?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll keep it really brief. So 2 points. First point, in the new normal, the customers are going to be more discerning. So people like us in the service industry really have to ramp up the way we deliver service. And we're going to do a lot of that in season 2. The second is going back to mindset. A lot of us grew up thinking that to be excellent, you have to be perfect. And maybe
Yeah.
that's where the fear of, like especially restaurant professionals, they don't want to ask because they're afraid to uncover something that will show that they weren't perfect. But excellence takes into account that we're all human. It's possible to fail. Nobody gets it right 100% every single time. What makes us excellent is that even when you make a mistake, you recover, you come back from it, you learn, and then you avoid doing it in the future. So check back really is important. Not just, of course, it's added revenue, and of course it makes the customer feel more welcome because you're taking care of them, but it's really an opportunity to do better and to catch yourself. If you did make a mistake with the guest, the best time to recover is right after it happens. I
Yes.
remember a study that 3 out of 10 restaurant goers will come back after experiencing an error that wasn't corrected. But if it's corrected, 9 out of 10 will return even if there was a mistake. So the difference between 3 to 10 and 9 out of 10, that's also revenue that we will need in
Yeah.
this new normal. So being
Exactly.
excellent is equal to better performance of yourself and your branch, your store, and survival of your company in the new normal.
Yeah. Thanks. You perfectly put it. Like everything. Thank you so much for giving that recap. So for next week, our season ender for season 1, which is episode 10, very interesting topic, giver mindset versus taker mindset. That will come out on Monday. And then on Wednesday, we have a special bonus session for managers and supervisors. Remember, season 2, which starts on May 18th, is about leadership. Now, if we are training everyone in the team to be leaders, right, we need to have the right mindset for the managers and the supervisors because they are the in-store leaders. So please encourage your managers and your supervisors to join us for this bonus session that happens, that we will be coming out on May 13th. So keep the questions coming. Thank you so much. We are available. These videos are available on Facebook, on YouTube. Just search for Satisfied, and also on our website. So thanks so much, Gabe, and have a great weekend,
Thank you,
everyone.